Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this matter concerning the woman who was mourning and the dry cleaner came to her. And I think Chika was saying something earlier about the timing, that when people are grieving, you don't know their state of mind. And I'm going back to this timing issue. Is it a cultural thing? Because I remember that when my mother was mourning, it was while she was mourning, we're all over in the house, Daddy just died. And then my family, my dad's family, brought in our last born. He says, this is Alao's dad, you know, because now you now talk about the mental health of the mourner or the chief mourner. Is she ready to accept a new child? Saying that my husband had a child, though, there's an away macho, and this is the person, you know, that thing happens, we see it.
All the time.
So the culture is that, is it culturally permissible, therefore, for us to, the earlier we do this thing, we wait for the man to die, and I say...
Sometimes they like to do it like that because that shock will prevent her real reaction. Yes, people do it because when, especially even at the burial place where you're pouring sand, they'll say, the person must... We've seen plenty of movies where it is at the pouring sand that somebody else will not come and pour sand. You're wondering, who is this person pouring sand? They say, his guys is from outside. They have to pour sand too. Because they know there's shock in that moment, there is less drama that is likely to happen. By the time they would come back home, things can be dealt with.
So the woman's
done there.
Yes.
There are rights that you talked about. No, it's not a hand. It's not about the shock. It's not about the shock.
It's about in your splitting.
Yes. In whatever you're doing at that moment, the reality is that he's dead, and all people have entitled to him that have a right to him must also exercise the same rights. It's not that time they'll say Ajeko Sukunto because of what, and the other person would have missed his right to his father's burial. Agreed. So it's the same thing when a person, there's a preparation for eventualities that, you know, I have because of my faith. And it is preach. But I've seen Muslims fail at it, saying, you're supposed to not trust in the next second because it is not known.
Yes.
You're supposed to be prepared that no matter what, this and this and this are what you must do. So even in grief, the way I grieved was, okay, he's dead. I wanted to cry. I went somewhere, I started crying. I was like, no, it's not time to cry. Right. Where's the best grave place? Where is this? Where is that? You arrange the things that must be arranged.
That's who you are. There are other people that are not like you.
No.
There are other people that are not like you, Nyma, and we must give room.
I just said it's a training. And I said I've seen Muslims fail at it.
They did not. When you say they fail at it, it sounds like you are judging that person for the inability to manage the situation the way you were able to manage it. Some people can manage shock. I have friends around me that when things happen, they just be like they cannot even move. I'm the one saying, that's electricity, that's shut off the electricity, cleaning up this. I can react in the face of shock. Some can't, which is why I noted down that may we have the right people around us when we are in a moment of shock. Because in most cases, Mariah shared a story of how when something happened, it's shock. When somebody goes, it is shock. Some people are crying, some are wailing, some are in shock, some are like, they can't even think. You said somebody came in and said, where's mommy's jewelry?
The first thing.
And that person did what? Said, let's pack mommy's jewelry away before it gets stolen. Because even you, in all your organization, could not think of it. We need the right people around us. May God give us the gift of the right people. They can be your family members, they can be your siblings, but that moment, that woman shouldn't have to deal with the laundromat. The moment that thing happened, and somebody is coming to meet her for money, somebody around her should have come to say, that's why we don't mourn alone. So that you are not dealing with the issues alone. Somebody else around you will say, let me stand in gap for you. This laundryman has come, I'll pay for it.
Okay, let me take this.
She doesn't have to deal with that issue in that moment.
Has been holding for a while. Good morning, Garuba, you're live.
All right, good morning, Mariah.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nyma and Sophie and the other lady there. You guys are doing fantastic job. I don't know. My take in this issue is that I don't know from where I came from and my faith and the Muslim I'm from North. We know that right from your childhood, they will tell you that if you borrow money from someone, if you died, the family or the grief, whoever, they have to pay that money before you take it to the grave. That's fact, that's Islam, and that's culture in the North. We have that faith, that belief. You will not borrow money from someone expecting not to come and ask after you died. And the statement that that woman made, it is respectful to the dead. She could have talked to that boy politely. Maybe there in one discussion, he said, madam, I forgive that money. Because there's way that you can address someone that you feel like, okay, that you find solace in what you send to him. You can say, I forgive that money. That's nature. But the way she talked, she spoke to that man, honestly, it's totally wrong. And we know that If you borrow 1 naira, honestly, if you cannot be able to pay, definitely your family will pay it. Even if the wife of the man is dead, I don't know, as I said, from where I come from, she knows that the moment he died, okay, they will start announcing it. Is there anybody that is owing? We announce it publicly before they take him to the grave. If there's any issue, come forward. Even if you don't have money or you don't have any property, they can sell and pay that money. People.
Thank you very much, Garba.
I'd like to highlight two things. First, while it is important to actually begin to carry this narrative of being actively prepared, not just for death, but for eventualities, I like that angle that we have actually touched on, and that's something we must preach, because to a very large extent, there's still a small section of our people who feel that you are bringing negativity on when you prepare for something negative. It's like, more like you are jinxing your
negatives and eventually.
Yes, but still, it's something no one likes. So some people feel like the minute I write my will, it's almost like I've already put my debt out there. So it's important that we talk about preparedness on the one hand. But on the other hand, when we talk about when disaster or something, happens at that point in time, we must know that this might be one of the reasons why people walk about with unresolved traumas. Because it would be really, really, I think, retrogressive for us to dictate how people should react when something happens. Just like Tokpa said, there's some people who, when something happens, they're up and go. When my mom died, I took her to the morgue myself. My elder brother was weeping. This is a man. I was 16, he was 18. He was weeping. I actually was the one who was with my mom when my mom died. And the minute he saw that my mom wasn't breathing anymore, he started to wail. I was the one who, from the things I had seen on movies, put cotton wool in her nose, called an uncle came. We literally carried her in a bus to the morgue. My brother was transfixed, like he couldn't do anything. Devastated. And so it's important that we make room for people and their fragilities and understand that different people would react, and we should the healing process is something that is really fragile too, that we must not tamper with. So, absolutely. So it's important that we say, okay, when tragedy happens, if that preparedness hasn't happened beforehand, then let's let people really heal at their pace and time.
I was going to respond to Tokwe that not all shocks are death. Certain things are different, and things happen and they vary. So you can have an accident right now, you're confused, somebody steps in. But you see, death is something, raising again, that is preached to be expected. Okay, this one means that the person cannot ever repair anything that they've done wrong. What do you do? It's preached, but people try to say, "Kosikulo a powder, if you look at my face, is powder." People don't expect death. So when you take it far, you're going to will. The fates are telling you that you cannot die.
It's not your portion.
It's not your portion. So you don't prepare.
Exactly.
Your next of kin doesn't know what a next of kin role is. The role of a next of kin is to ensure that those things are taken care of. Now, even in the Islam that we talk about, people step in. My brother-in-laws, I always say, amazing guys. They came in, the coffin, the cloth, everything that we needed to do, they bought. What I was arranging was different. We were just, delegating, taking duties that we knew we ought to take because it's a preach. Now, I see Muslims when something happens, the person will now be doing like this. You'll be calling uncle on the phone, calling one. I told my uncles on the phone, this is how my father wanted to be buried. This is what he kept. And my head of family then, in the 90s, said, he's always said this.
Because he prepared.
Because he prepared. And he talks about it with his kids. How often do we tell our kids what to do and our spouses? Now, and it's important to share your debts with your loved ones. Because when you get money, now then you take care of, except you're not taking care of them, you tell them, this and this are the things. So that somebody doesn't become entitled. In the case somebody asks the question that, what if the person didn't leave the money? You are going to go to the creditor now as a person that he died penniless. I don't know how he invested his money, but we as a family cannot afford. If the person is magnanimous to say, I waived the debt, that person has helped your family. He could also have waived it. It's sadaka. If the person says, I do not waive it, you go find them.
Okay, let me take this call.
You raise it and you pay it, and you're supposed to raise it through the Muslim community as well.
Thanks for calling, Moji. You're live.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
And I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Well, I'm a widow too, and I saw that post. Like you said, is how we react to grief. I won't want to blame that woman because, you know, maybe when they came to her, she wasn't even expecting her husband was going to die at that time. And that was what prompted that response. When my husband died, we acquired an asset. He was supposed to use that asset to generate income. And he died the following month after acquisition of that asset. And we still had outstanding. We were supposed to pay the outstanding the 3rd month, which was a month after his death. So those people, are you still with me? Hello? Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so those people called me and said, oh, madam, sorry about your loss. Are you still going to meet that deadline or we give you time? I wasn't angry because, one, I don't like having debts around me. Not that I had the money, not that we had so much. But I said, okay, I will try and make sure I pay at the deadline date. So, you see, we have ways of grieving and responding to things, especially when the unexpected happens. And I come into something similar to what happened to her. The following week after my husband died, the PSP people came. And usually because we have people around us in the house, some people, they knocked on the gate and people went out and they said, oh, because that time they were doing pay as you go because of people that were owing them. So when they knocked on the door and asked that, oh, they needed, people said, they came to me. I had to attend to them. Even though I was grieving, I came outside and I told them, oh, okay, fine, these are the receipts we paid for this month, and okay, I'll send someone to pay for the month that is coming up. You see, so it all depends on how we grieve. So I won't put a blame on her because, see, it's only somebody that wears the shoes that knows where it pinches. Maybe because of the way she saw the person coming, and you know, in our Nigerian context, to be like, why will you be coming to ask me for money when you know I just lost my husband? But
thank you, Moji. Thank you, Moji, because you see, it goes back to, and I mean, I'm trying to pick my words very carefully because you're about to say tabang sokunka yakamarino, you know, and it's all about how we are as a people. You know, I've always said it before. We need systems in place. And I understand, and I'm not in any way trying to water down the gravity of somebody mourning or the reality of the situation. But the truth is that, based on what Moji just said, a woman who is mourning and somebody brings to her, there's a debt, you have to pay the PSP, you have to pay something. And you're saying because you are grieving, they have no right to come and ask what is owed to them. That's where I want us to blur, not to clear that. I mean, we have we have to be sensitive to somebody's mourning, but we must also face the reality that the system is being owed. Something has to happen. Something must continue to oil it. So even with that, we shouldn't make them look as if they are being insensitive.
That's like it wasn't wrong for the guy to come there to show up. Do you understand? Like the first time he showed up, there wasn't anything wrong with
Was it wrong for her to complain?
It wasn't even wrong for her to complain.
Okay.
No, it wasn't also wrong. A reaction of saying, go and ask the dead body for me, ask the dead person was wrong. How she reacts in the moment of how she's feeling, I'm not going to judge anybody for their reaction because people will react in different ways. Sure. I feel other people around should have a conversation to support her in that moment of weakness because we know people react in different ways. I also believe that, you know, when you said about the woman called about PSP and saying that she stood up to go outside, friends and family gather around. This person has died. Please, if you cannot pack it, you want to leave it behind, we will sort it out later so that we're not interrupting or distorting how she's feeling. I feel that people should be around you to cover up and support you in that time of weakness. Number one. Number two, Nyma said something very important. She said it several times, and we cannot end this show without highlighting it. God, you know, they say, may the soul of your father continue to rest in peace, in perfect peace, but we must learn from the experience of her father, which is clarifying in clear terms what he wants long before he died. So the family members knew. Even uncles knew.
Nobody knows you're going to die.
He said it long before. She has said it, she did it for time. She has said it privately, she has said it publicly. That even long before he died, he's always said, don't carry my body to the village. So when Nyma had to make a decision family decision that we are going to bury him here, and she was going to have to tell family members, he's not coming to the village, they said, he has told us, don't bring me to the village. We should put our affairs in order. It is not preparing to die. I told my mom, Mommy, all your account number, write it into your jotter. Account number, banks where you have account, password. I say, because I am not going to, I don't know. And if anything happens to, when the unexpected happens, and you pass, the money will be there.
Let me ask you.
I will not go and be looking for which account and they will chop it. So in telling her, I've not told my daddy, who is older, because our relationship is not, we are dear, but I did not know how to say it. But for my mom, I had to tell her that, Mommy, make the list and put your password and your PIN because I don't know it.
Let me ask you this question, because maybe this conversation is easy, because we're talking about his spouse. If a woman loses her child, her only child, for example, and then you walk your 2 legs to her house and say, oh, the dry cleaner money that you're owing me, you've not paid it. And you found that, okay, people are mourning, and you're wondering what happened. Oh, her child died. Now, again, so I don't want to direct the question to you, to Nyma, because in that kind of situation, is it right? Is it right for the woman to say, oh, the dry cleaner to say, no, not even the dead body. You are the mourner. I mean, the woman that lost her child is the mourner. Is it still right for the dry cleaner to come and ask a woman who is mourning her child?
You know, let's now remove our religions, you know, because they're mostly foreign, and bring African tradition into context. 3 weeks ago, I got a call of domestic violence, and a man beat his wife, used knife to threaten her, and she ran out of the house. She called me. She needed free legal advice. In fact, a friend who I respected called me on her behalf. Her dad was calling. She was calling. And I said, okay, let's incident it from the DSVA point of view. She said, no, he's now attempting to sell the house, and he wants to run away. So she ran out of the house. She left him. We were trying to incident it. In the space of 24 hours, till date, I fear God, because what I received was, within 24 hours, 48, I sent a message, I did not hear from you, what is the feedback? I said, he died. Jesus. And I said, because I have seen death. When the person is about to die, they behave some kind of way. They say, he's seeing the dead and all of that. He's seeing the angel of death. And I couldn't process it. This is, you know, real life experience. I said, how many minutes? And immediately he died. Family members whose child died moved into her house and take over from the everything. Wife. So she has not been able to enter her house because he had used knife to pursue her, and her kids she was grabbing to run out of the house to go to police to incident. She has not been. She said I cannot approach the house. She has not been able to enter her house. Family members have taken over the house. Now their child died. Let me tell you something. They say when person they cry, they see road. If they see clearly, let's stop all these things. If assuming that woman at the time she died, one relative of the uncle was busy carrying things in the house, she go see him. The one way talk something, she go see him. Yeah, I had someone who's a family friend of mine. A child died while I was quite young. And she remembered to tell her sister who was coming in that because of the fight we had, you came here to mourn me. She was in grief, but she saw her sister, and her sister started crying that it's my child that died too. But at the time she saw her sister, her first reaction was, you are here to mock me.
To be honest, I've
grief. We say yes, but grief doesn't take away.
I'm so sorry.
It doesn't take away.
What about the one we cannot discuss, where people go to the hospital, mother, child die, and husband has to pay hospital bill?
Hospital go collect money.
They will collect
but
money.
sometimes
they give grace.
They give grace.
They give grace for period.
The funny thing is, I have seen some people, their own grief manifests in ways of taking charge.
Efficiency.
Yeah.
Yes. So it still boils down to what we're saying. Yeah. Some people, when something bad happens to them, they cannot move. They're literally transfixed. Some people will do everything and do it well as if nothing happened. And you'll be looking at them like, is everything okay? Only for that grief to be surfaced at some point in their lives later. So I honestly feel like this conversation, it's very nuanced. You know, there are layers to this conversation. But I do agree with the need for systems, for preparedness, and then in the heat of the moment, let us not lose our humanity and empathy in tiny, small ways that we can.
I think that's a perfect way to end this show. Thank you so much, Chika. That's all we can take on today's conversation. I hope that you've learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye.